In this drill, we work on volley drops. We use a large box as a target, which is very motivating for students. The card box in reality is actually pretty big, even though it looks quite small in this video. And it's also not placed right at the front wall. Using a card box is great to make this drill into a game, especially with a couple of people. It's also well suited for people who put too much pace on their volley drop and the volley drop comes too far back to the middle. Have students hit the volley drop with an open stance, which is very common in the middle of the court where there's very little time available. A crucial part of a consistent volley drop is early racket preparation together with your feet movement as one unit. The racket preparation for the student in blue is too late, which doesn't allow for a follow through, even though only a very short backswing is needed. Maintaining a solid balance is another crucial part of being consistent with delicate shots like a drop shot. As you can see here, the upper body of the student in blue collapses while he executes the shot. A stable wrist is another important part of a volley drop to be able to take the pace off the ball and to be consistent. A late racket preparation for a volley drop is quite often the cause for excessively using the wrist. The advantage of using the squash cannon is the rhythm it gives you and the consistent feeds. It makes it much easier to groove your shots. Racket preparation and movement need to happen together to be ready in time, especially for shots on the fly. Only early racket preparation will allow you to swing slower and put in the ball short. The squash cannon is great to use as part of a progression to hone a new skill which later needs to be integrated into the game. The early racket preparation is already improved here, but the wrist is still too loose, which doesn't allow for a controlled shot. Using a box as a target is great for players who overhit the volley drop, which makes it come too far back to the middle. You can easily increase difficulty by moving the box closer to the front wall. It's also fantastic to make a competition out of it, scoring points for each volley drop that ends up in the box, for 2 players or more. Another game would be to get all the balls into the box until none of them is left as a team. More game ideas can be seen on our website squash-training.com. I also like to use the squash cannon as a demonstration tool, demonstrating a shot and then have the students repeat it. The volley drop is a difficult shot to execute, so certain problems are very common. Here you see the same problems with a late racket preparation and a loose wrist, which doesn't. The racket needs to be prepared early with a slight shoulder turn. Only a short backswing will allow for a follow through, which is very important to direct the volley drop. As you can see here, the follow through is quite pronounced to be able to direct the ball. A very common mistake is to stop the follow through too soon. Feed slow balls with the squash cannon to force students to have more of a swing, as the ball has less energy. And feed fast balls with the squash cannon to force a firm wrist and an early racket preparation. Fast balls have enough energy that they just need to be redirected, so quite often it's more of a blocking action than an actual swing. I would use a variety of different speed and height settings, so students have to adjust. A slight shoulder turn is needed for a comfortable backswing and a comfortable follow through. Even though in a game you might not always have time to have a shoulder turn. With fast balls, quite often you're just happy to get the racket on the ball.